The one game to rule them all. Does Microsoft have it? Can Xbox do it? Well, we're going to be talking about it here in today's video, so let's get into it. So unless you've been living under a rock this past weekend, you're probably well aware by now that Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has released. And not only has it released, it's released to some pretty outstanding reviews. I mean, if we're going over to Metacritic, if we take into account these reviews, if I scroll down here, 36. This is number 36 on the list of best games of all time. We just got the release of the 36th best game of all time, which is crazy to think. I mean, whether you actually believe that or not yourself, that's up for debate. But according just general consensus, this is in the top 50 games of all time. I know for myself, I've been playing a good amount of it this week, and the only reason I haven't been playing more is because, as you guys probably know by now, we have the Diablo 4 server slam this weekend as well, so I'm hopping back and forth between Tears of the Kingdom and Diablo 4. It's been an awesome weekend so far, but I mean, I can't say that I really do like Tears of the Kingdom. But I was doing the show that I normally do on Fridays. It's called Bullsitting over on TSWS Gaming. I do it with Ham Solo, Loke7, Cozy Beluga, and then we also, have guests in and out on the show as well. But I was doing that show, and the topic came up of one game to rule them all. Kind of like how Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is having its moment right now. Will Xbox ever have that moment? And the question specifically is, can Xbox have that moment again? Because we look back in history, Xbox has had that moment multiple times. They've had this happen to them multiple times throughout their history. The original trilogy of Halo is a great example. Halo 1 was that moment in history for Xbox. Halo 2 was that moment in history for Xbox. Halo 3, again, was that moment in history for Xbox. The original Gears of War was also, could be argued, was that moment for Xbox. But it's really important to remember that standards for gaming have changed so much since 2007 when Halo 3 was released, or 2006 when Gears of War Original was released. I mean, we expect so much more from our games now than we ever did back then. Even a game like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, it has so much going on in the background, the physics system, the way you interact with things. That game is very dense. It's kind of a technical achievement that they managed to get that game not only up and running on the Switch, but up and running well. I mean, well, at least by Switch's standards, you got a pretty solid 30 FPS. That's a miracle. I don't know how the developers at Nintendo did that, but they did. So if the bar for gaming is literally a miracle, then we have this super weird expectation where everything needs to be the next greatest thing. And if it's not, then it's just, hey, it's an average game. But I do believe that Xbox currently has 2 games in development that could possibly be of that status. And both of them, interestingly enough, are by the exact same studio. Can you guess who that studio is? Well, you absolutely nailed it, because it's Compulsion Games. I'm just kidding, it's not Compulsion Games. Although I am excited to see what they're working on. It's actually Bethesda. I'm talking about Bethesda here. And you're thinking to yourself, Matt, well, what's the 2 games? And, well, I think one of them is pretty obvious. In fact, I actually think both of them are very obvious. So I'll just say them. Starfield is the first obvious one. The second obvious one is Elder Scrolls 6. Much in the same way that Nintendo has Zelda or Mario, or PlayStation has Spider-Man or The Last of Us, Xbox has Bethesda RPGs. Now, Bethesda RPGs are some of the most special RPGs ever. You've got the Elder Scrolls series, you've got the Fallout series. We're getting a brand new IP in Starfield. Elder Scrolls 6, I mean, they teased that, when was that? Back in 2018, they showed a logo of it and people went fucking insane. And listen, that's not to say that I don't think any of the other studios at Xbox are capable of making great games, because I absolutely do. I'm super hyped for Ninja Theory. I cannot wait to see what Hellblade 2 is like. I also can't wait to see what Fable's like. Playground Games is the prestige studio. They are top tier. I'm really interested. I made that joke earlier about Compulsion Games, but genuinely, I'm really interested in what Compulsion Games is working on. And then on top of that, you've also got these other top tier studios like In Exile, Obsidian. I love Arcane. I know Arcane's under a lot of heat right now. I get it, but I love Arcane. You've also got id Software, Machine Games. Like, there's tons and tons of talent under Xbox. But I think in terms of, the one game to rule them all, I think Bethesda is the best bet for Xbox to have that game. Now we're over here on SteamDB's website, and this is something I think people really forget about, myself included sometimes. I often forget about this, is that it's kind of like a popularity contest, it seems like. What's the most popular thing? What are people most excited for? And I think there's no better indicator of what people are most excited for than the most wishlisted games on Steam. And the reason I say that is because I feel like Steam's generally unbiased. Steam is really all about the games. Plus, it's a huge platform, like an incomprehensibly huge platform. It doesn't care about PlayStation first. It doesn't care about Xbox first. It cares about what is the most exciting thing first. That is it. And according to SteamDB, the most wishlisted upcoming Steam games, number one on that list, you guys can see it, is Starfield. And listen, another thing that I think people forget, they don't take this into account when they're considering, Bethesda games or Bethesda RPGs specifically from the Bethesda studio. And that's the fact that Bethesda is first and foremost a PC developer. Now that's something that my console friends won't like to hear. Listen, I'm right there with you. I'm a console nerd. I prefer playing on console. It is what it is. When Starfield comes out, I will be playing it on console at 30 FPS because that game will be 30 FPS. I'm just letting you know. Just think about the amount of people who will be playing Starfield on launch day. Obviously, you've got the Xbox Game Pass subscribers. You got people who play it on Game Pass on console. People who play it on Game Pass on PC. That is not the majority of people who will be playing Starfield on launch day. The majority of people who will be playing Starfield on launch day will be buying it on Steam. That's just the fact. The sheer amount of people and just the PC community for these Bethesda games is absolutely staggering. And that's why when I see these people that think it's a foregone conclusion that Spider-Man 2 will outsell Starfield, I'm not so quick to hop on that hype train. Because the PC community, again, is just staggeringly massive. And listen, I can't wait for Spider-Man 2. I'm hyped for it. I'll have it pre-ordered as soon as I possibly can. I'll likely be playing it day one. I'll be a little bit annoyed if it interrupts my Starfield time, but I will be playing it. I'll be checking it out. I can't wait. But listen, when you're touting Skyrim in space, I mean, Skyrim with guns is insane. Skyrim in space with guns is it's just bonkers. That's insanity. And guys, listen, we're talking about Starfield right now. That's all well and good. I can't wait for Starfield. It's my most anticipated game this generation besides one other game. Can you guess what that one other game is? We mentioned it earlier. It's Elder Scrolls 6. Guys, my favorite game of all time, and it's not particularly close either, is Skyrim. Skyrim is at the top of the list for me. It is a masterpiece from front to back. And guys, you want to see something insane here? Well, this for me proves how much I love Skyrim. This is the game card for Skyrim Special Edition. Keep in mind that this is just the special edition of Skyrim. So this is the Xbox One and the Xbox Series S and X version of Skyrim. This doesn't take into account all the time I spent on the 360 version in Skyrim, which I would almost guarantee is more than this, and it also doesn't take into account the amount of time I've spent on Skyrim and Steam, which probably a little bit less than this. And guys, the reason I bring that up is because, if Elder Scrolls 6 just ends up being a bigger version of that, obviously a bigger open world, more things to do, more guilds to join, more weapons, more armor, more loot. It's just, if it ends up being that, I'm gonna put a disgusting amount of time in that. And guys, forget my hype. Like, throw that out of the window for right now. Just the general consensus. Like I said earlier in the video, in 2018, when they showed just the logo for this game, just basically confirming that, hey, it exists and at some point in time, you will have it. That's all they did. When they showed that logo, people went berserk. People lost their minds. It was trending on Twitter for like 2 or 3 days. If you can hit trending on Twitter just off of a logo reveal, then you're top of the charts. You're at the top. And guys, listen, I don't want anyone taking this video out of context and saying, I'm trying to say that Elder Scrolls or Starfield is going to be bigger than Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That's not what I'm trying to say. Tears of the Kingdom is huge. It's amazing. It deserves all the love that it's getting. It's phenomenal. So hats off to Nintendo. Hats off to the Zelda team. They nailed it with this one. All I'm saying is Xbox does have a chance at having that one moment, and they have two chances at it really. One with Starfield, two with Elder Scrolls 6. Now, who knows what else might happen in between then? Like I said, we've got tons of Xbox studios hard at work on other games, but those are the ones that I would bet my money on. But I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. What future games from Xbox are you most excited for? And what game do you think has the best chance of being, that game from Xbox in the future? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on it. Leave a like if you like the video. And if you're enjoying this kind of content and you want to stay up to date with it going forward over here on the channel, the best way to do that is consider subscribing, consider ringing that notification bell, because it helps you stay up to date with everything that happens over here on the channel. And it helps to promote me in the algorithm, helps push the videos out to more people. And that's exactly what we want to be doing over here. And I really do appreciate it. And with that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.